defense was outstanding. And this is a Florida State team. You know, they don't have the numbers that they've had in the past, but they still have long, quick guys. They switch everything out on the perimeter, and they can really be disruptive when they're playing well, and they played well in Pittsburgh.
Cameron Corrin and Federico get us started. Roger Ayers with Matt Potter and Tony Chiazza. And away we go from the Tucker Center. And the Noles, who fell by 9 here Wednesday night to Syracuse. And the sophomore Warley will handle it first here. Backdoor lob. And Jalen Warley on the board. Nicely done by Caleb Mills.
Nice screen, but again, Warley is a tall guy, Wes. He is, and he's going up against Nelly Cummins. Warley is 6'6". Cummins is 6 feet tall. So that's a really good screen, but they take advantage of a mismatch inside.
No change for Jeff Capel's team. Cummings, Elliott, Burton, Federico, and there is Blake Hinson bullying his way into the lane to tie it up.
And bullying is exactly what he did, Wes. And he did it against Darren Green Jr. Green really hurt him on offense the last time. Maybe that's the way to stop him. Attack him when he's on the defensive end.
Florida State back to their normal lineup after making a change the other night. And Leonard Hamilton going with his veteran unit, a veteran in terms of starting experience on this particular campaign. Cleveland against Elliott, a little spot up, and Federico pulls away the loose ball on the backside.
I think Elliott tipped that ball on the way up.
Here is Burton. He's the guy that flips a switch now for Pitt at both ends of the floor.
And here's that switch we were talking about.
There's an Elliott three.
Oh. And that's a great sign for Pitt when Elliott gets rolling.
Yeah, R.J. Barsh, the first-year assistant for Florida State. Green trying to match with a triple. Here's Cummings and Pitt off and running, trying to create a 3-on-2. Hinson, and we'll get a foul on Warley along the baseline. It'll be the first on Florida State, the first on the sophomore from Mount Airy, PA, Jalen Warley. R.J. Barsh told us this morning, when Elliott gets going, it seems to lift everything Pitt does at the offensive end. So the early three by Elliott, and now here's Burton trying to throw another one on, and that's well short.
And that's not the strongest part of Burton's game. He can make a three, Wes. He shoots the percentage pretty well, but he doesn't shoot very many of them.
Miller's in traffic, and finally it got batted around. And Pitt wearing the Steel City black. I love these jerseys, by the way. They broke them out a couple of years ago, and it honors the city of Pittsburgh.
Well, it's uniforms after the heart of Yinzhus everywhere.
Yep. That got blocked. Here's Florida State flipping the floor. Warley, who's got their only bucket, going for another, and Federico will draw the foul. Federico. Same first as last.
Wes, and first and last, he's made himself a pretty good player in this conference. He's a real force on the inside blocking shots. He got called for the foul right there. But people are starting to talk about him as we start thinking about end of the season awards as maybe being a member of the all defensive team. He's so good inside.
Yep, first of the free throws, good for Jalen Warley. Florida State 74% in conference play. They were 11 of 15 in the win at Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago. Jalen only played 15 minutes on Wednesday night in the loss to Syracuse, had but 3 points. Came off the bench, a decision made by Leonard Hamilton earlier that day.
There's the Noles with some pressure.
He's got all 4 of Florida State's points. See the double screen principle there, Dan, right?
No, they just switch.
Yep.
And what Pitt has to do to beat this is they got to move the ball effectively. You can't just, on the first thing, attack off the screen.
Here's Burton trying to beat Corrin on the drive. Too strong. Federico, the collection and score.
And Wes, that's one way you can take advantage of the switch. Federico rolls to the basket, but basically he follows Burton down the lane. He's got a smaller guy matched up against him, and so he's in position for an offensive rebound. Nice play by Federico.
Mills, Warley with some early initiative. Now Corrin a step in off a shot fake. Cameron Corrin, the 6'10 freshman from Allen, Texas, who was scoreless the other night against Syracuse, is on the board to draw the Noles to within a point. Here's a kick out three. Cummings knocks down a triple.
And one of the things that if you're the Seminoles, you've got to run the Panthers off the three-point line. In conference play, Wes, they score almost 40% of their points from beyond the arc.
And they have been on fire in the last 4 games, averaging 12.5 threes a game. There's a step-back three by Mills, and Hinson rips it away. Dan, they're shooting 43% from 3 and 12.5 a game in the last 4.
You win a lot of games like that, and they've won the last 4.
Cummings tried for a second. Mills the rebound. We played 4 minutes here in Tallahassee, and Pitt with an early 4-point advantage. Cleveland a little change of direction and foul line jumper. And a foul will be ticketed to Cameron Corey. So it's his first, it's the second on Florida State. And the Panthers have gotten a couple of early threes. The second of the 2 from Nellie Cummings. Pitt leads by 4 in Tallahassee early.
At Papa John's, we start with better, like marinated.
Won 4 straight since a 9 or 7-point loss to Florida State at home. And you see some of the details of the ball game, and you know what? Florida State's bench got 17 points, Dan, and once again the starters played a maximum number of minutes seemingly for Leonard Hamilton, who's usually been typically very liberal about his bench.
Well, we talked about the fact that Pitt shoots the 3 very well. They only made 7, shot 25%. And you're right about Leonard. He's a guy that plays his bench a lot, but those bench players for Florida State in 38 minutes of game action, Wes, they had 17 points. And if you can't play your bench guys a lot, at least when you play them, you get lots of production.
Here's some backcourt pressure offered by the Noles out of the timeout. In for the first time today comes Naheem McLeod and Baba Miller for Florida State. And Nike Savandi has also checked in for Pitt. He's got the ball out here in the midcourt area with Nellie Cummings now.
Savandi is really an important player for the Panthers.
He'll take McLeod on the drive, had it picked by Mills. Turned over by the Panthers, Caleb Mills, the lefty scoop and a foul. And it's going to be on Savandi. It will be his first.
Well, Wes, and that's one thing that the Pitt Panthers cannot endure in this game, and that is turnovers that lead to baskets for Florida State. This is a Florida State team that sometimes struggles on offense, but not when they get the opportunity to get out and run. Caleb Mills, I don't know what that shot was, but he almost made it.
It was I'm going to get fouled. I'll see if I can get 3 out of it. And the 85% free throw shooter misses. He's 5th best in the ACC. And there's a look at Chandler Jackson, a 6'5" freshman from Memphis who averages about 12 minutes a ball game in conference play.
He had a great game against Syracuse.
Yep, played very well. Started the ball game. Mills on the board with the free throw.
He had 9 assists.
Yep. 7 points, 9 assists, and by the way, just 2 turnovers against the orange zone.
You can see now that the Seminoles jumping out on these screens and switching has really affected the Panthers' offensive rhythm.
Hinson, and that's a 4-point shot.
Oh,
my goodness, Blake Hinson, they'll only give him 3. Seems like a bit of a short change, doesn't it, from how far that was?
Well, the closest guy to him was Florida State assistant Stan Jones, and he's sitting next to the scorer's table.
Largest lead of the first half at 6 here for Pittsburgh. Jackson bothered by a preseason thumb injury, trying to get through on the baseline. Here is Green against Elliott with 7 to shoot. Darren Green, a foul line. And Federico pulls it away.
That's really good defense.
There's a skip for Elliott. On the drive, got caught in traffic, and a held ball will send it to Pitt. Another look at the Hinson deep 3 here.
Well, I mean, this is a situation where you want to run him off the 3-point line, but good heavens, look how far away he is. That hash mark out there, Wes, is what they call the 28-foot line.
Yeah.
You know, usually the referees stand there.
Well, it's 28 from the baseline, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he was standing right around 28 feet. Like I said, it feels like a short change to just give him 3, and should have shot that one from 28 too, because that was too strong. And the foul will be on McLeod on the loose ball with Federico. Naheem McLeod's first. It'll be the third on Florida State here.
Well, Federico is battling for the ball, and you can see very clearly there McLeod reaches and grabs him by the arm.
Sabandi off a dribble and then turned over. Here's Cleveland. Open floor and a big dunk. My goodness. I think Matthew Cleveland might have left from just inside the ACC logo.
That was impressive.
Yep.
But again, this is a Florida State team. They can guard you despite any struggles that they've had this year. They can really defend.
Right side, Elliott three. Boy, nice shot fake, Dan, and Elliott knocks down a triple.
The key there, Wes, was the ball movement. You get the ball from side to side. You get the Florida State defenders reacting to ball fakes in particular. And you get Elliott a wide open shot. And Elliott can shoot it now if he gets time and distance.
McLeod, and here is Miller playing in just his 9th game, and there's a turnover. Sabandi tries to move through the backcourt. Hinson back for Nike. Sabandi in an open three. Federico tried to keep it alive. Instead, Cleveland tucks it away for Florida State. Miller, terrific ball handler for his size, Dave.
Yes, really is, and can move very effectively.
Here's Cleveland, a kick for Darren Green.
He thought about it, Wes.
Sure did, he clutched.
Elliott is trying to stay right on top of him.
Step back three, good. Boy, Darren Green has got all the tools. 78-3 for Green. Third best three-point shooter in the ACC, coming in at 40%.
Wesson, that was not bad defense either. Elliott was about as close to him as you can be without fouling.
Burton trying to size up McLeod. Leaves it for Hinson. One dribble, up strong, shot fake against Miller, and Blake Hinson's got 7, Dan.
Well, the interesting thing is Burton hasn't scored yet, Wes. They're really paying a lot of attention to him. When he gets in the lane, they're collapsing on him, and that has opened things up for some other guys.
Here's Green. Off into the right corner. Miller sets his feet. One dribble and too strong. Tried to go back inside to McLeod and threw it past Cleveland.
Well, he threw it right to Hinson, who was open, by the way, but you want to throw the ball to the guys in the white shirts.
6-point lead, and Burton's three.
See, again, Burton is not a high percentage three-point shooter, and I think Burton shooting that so early in the shot clock is not a good play.
Cleveland with a long, wandering dribble to set up a drive, and a foul coming on a Matt Potter whistle here. And the foul will be on Elliott. It'll be his first. It's the third on Pitt, but the Matthew Cleveland dunk. Oh, he left right in front of the middle C. What a dunk by Cleveland. Pittsburgh by 6, however, in Tallahassee.
Teams in the conference lead the conference in three-pointers made. And Jamarius Burton has been at the center of this. The defense shifts toward him. Here they go again. Now Florida State is chasing. And so Burton creates 3 of those three-point opportunities. They've made 4 three-pointers have the Panthers, and you can see they're the top three-point shooting team in terms of average field goals made per game in the conference after being 14th a year ago.
4 of their first 8 today. 51 of 109 in the 4-game win streak. We talked about it coming in. I mean, averaging 12.5 in the last 4 games. I tell you what, they seem to be getting a lot of mileage out of a shot fake too today.
Yeah.
Connor.
Well, Wes, the other thing is that we said they rely heavily on it. They've got 14 field goal attempts, and 8 of them are from beyond the arc.
Matthew Cleveland will go the line, 6'7" sophomore from Atlanta. The 6th man in the ACC a season ago gets his 3rd point.
And with all that being said, with the Panthers shooting from 3 very effectively, it's just a 5-point game.
Yep. Cleveland's 2nd, rebounded by Sabandi. And Burton will work against Chandler Jackson. Powerfully built freshman from Memphis is Jackson. By the way, Guillermo Diaz-Graham has checked into the ball game wearing number 25 for Pitt. Here's Cummings, drew the contact, and a foul on Mills. And I think that will be 3 free throws, and it will for Nelly Cummings. Caleb Mills first. That is 4 now on the Noles.
That's a pretty good play by Cummings, Wes.
Smart,
I think,
right?
That Mills ran over there, and instead of just going right around him, he waited for Mills to get close, pump faked him, and then jumped right into him.
First one's good. Don't forget ACC Big 12 Monday night doubleheader coming up. Starts at 7 Eastern in Chapel Hill. Miami and North Carolina. Dan Schulman, Corey Alexander, Andrea Carter will be there for you at Smith Center. And then number 5 Texas is in Lubbock. And you know what happens in Lubbock, Dan? Weird things.
Well, weird things. The wind blows.
Boog Shambi, Fran Fraschilla, Chris Button have it for you on ESPN Monday night starting at 7 and always available for you on the ESPN app. Biggest lead of this first half is at 8. Cummings knocks all 3 down. He's got 6.
So that's not going to count as a three-point shot, but it may as well.
Right. There's a nice feed. Corrin, a shot fake on Hinson. Slides underneath, and Cameron Corrin's got his second field goal. Tom House wearing 12 for Florida State on the floor as well for the first time in this last exchange. House, a young freshman from Dayton, Ohio, playing less than 10 minutes a game in conference. Here's Cummings. Boy, Cleveland handled it nicely to the challenge. There's a skip for Hinson. 3 ball away. And Diaz Graham.
Oh, what a play.
Cummings tries to offer the 3. Sabandi gives Pitt a 3rd try. Skip for Cummings. Left wing Burton on the drive. Now 13 to shoot. House, nice recovery defensively for Florida State.
And he kept his feet, didn't go for the fake.
Cummings trying to take House. Skip out. Here's Hinson. Shot fake on Cleveland. And the step in is good. 2-pointer for Blake Hinson.
Wes, they got a couple of extra opportunities there, did the Panthers, but that was great ball and player movement. I don't care how good a defensive team you are. If you got to chase for that long, it's really difficult to prevent your opponent from getting a good look.
Back to an 8-point advantage. Mills on the drive, the scoop and score. Caleb Mills' first field goal.
And Mills, Wes, is a guy, he can really get into the lane, and he can score a lot of points really quickly.
Burton against Corrin. Jamarius all the way through. Sabandi the catch and shoot 3. Back rim miss for Nike. And here's Mills again in transition.
And that's where Mills likes to play.
And threw it in the backcourt. Cleveland going to let it roll all the way back there. Sabandi going to go, and it will roll out of bounds and stay at that end of the floor. And
that was a very odd thing, Wes.
Here.
It looked like Sabandi could have run that ball down and had an opportunity for at least a one-on-one with Cleveland.
Warley's come back for Florida State, as has Baba Miller.
And if you're Cleveland, yes, Wes, that would be an over and back violation, but you got to run back and pick up that ball. I don't know what Sabandi
Well, here's the
doing.
thing. If Cleveland challenges it, they might have the ball in the midcourt area as opposed to, and there's a foul on Elliott, contesting a long throw in from Cummings to Elliott. And Greg Elliott's going to be the first Panther with 2.
And that's
his second foul.
That's a big foul, Wes, because he has started very well. He's hit a couple of threes, and now he's going to have to go to the bench for the last 9 minutes of the half.
Nate Santos checks in. As you see, Elliott clearly frustrated with the foul and the circumstance he's been dealt.
But you got to credit that to the Florida State defense. I mean, it made it hard to throw the ball inbounds.
Darren Green on the floor, Corrin, Mills, Warley, and Baba Miller also back out there for Coach Hamilton. Warley trying to back down Nelly Cummings. Now Mills on the drive. Three to shoot. Here's Corrin. He'll have to launch. And a back rim miss. Miller had a shot at it. Santos grabbed his jersey. Nate Santos commits his first. 5 on Pitt.
That's a tough matchup for Santos. He's given up a few inches. And he's got it blocked out, but it's a long rebound.
I got something for you tomorrow night in Arizona. That's pass interference too, by the way. That was rebound interference. So a new 20 for Florida State. Mills just Burrowing in, Sabandi. Mills wanted to foul, didn't get it, and then Sabandi tried to give it away. Warley recovered and draws the foul. Sabandi thought he had help, and Cummings did not. An unforced error on Pitt. Sabandi pays for it with his second foul. So if you're looking at Pitt's bench here, two of their more prolific three-point scorers, Sabandi and Elliott, have 2 fouls each of the Pitt 6. And here is Warley at the line to shoot a couple.
Well, Wes, that's just a mental error right there. You got to hang on to the ball until you have somebody you can actually throw it to.
And Jalen misses the free throw. Greg Elliott reports back. And Sabandi will sit down. Elliott, the grad student, transferred from Marquette, from Detroit. Turned 24 in late January. And the free throw is good on the back end for Warley.
So now Elliott is back in the game, Wes.
Playing with the 2 fouls.
And he's been matched up defensively against Green. Let's see how that works.
Cummings squaring up Corin. Into the corner, Elliott a 3. Bounces away, Miller the rebound. A freshman from Mallorca in Spain. Federico and Cameron Corin, this pretty good matchup here now. Corin repost, put it up, Federico blocked it.
Boy, what a block that was.
Federico, the sophomore from Finland, is 3rd in the ACC in rejections. And as Dan told you, a candidate for all defensive team. Step aside, 5-point lead for the Panthers in tally.
Well, Wes, and it's interesting the way he's done it. Now, this is a crazy long three-point shot, but he's only taken and made 1 3. His other couple of baskets have come on the inside. Here, he fakes the 3 and gets in and shoots the short jump shot. The Panthers, Wes, have attempted 19 field goals, 12 of them from 3. Here you get a look at Hinson, the only player in the ACC with those numbers. But I think the Panthers, right at the moment, they made those 4 3-point baskets early. They've missed their last 5 3-point attempts. And you don't want to get so reliant on the 3 that you forget taking the ball into the lane. And that's where the Panthers are very strong.
Yep. Jeff Capel, who is looking for an early birthday present. He will turn 48 tomorrow.
Wow.
Yep. And his team is up 5 here with under 8 to go. Mills back on the floor to run the offense with Warley, Darren Green, Corin, and of course Baba Miller spelling Matthew Cleveland.
Miller trying to post up inside against Burton.
And deep from the logo. Green grazed the front rim. Burton the rebound.
What a great block out by Burton.
Yeah. Jamarius is scoreless. And on the drive against Miller, that got slapped off the glass. Score it. Corin gives Burton his first field goal.
Burton is a guy who takes tough shots, and he's a tough shot maker. But I thought that one was coming off, Wes. Corin, I thought a little over enthusiastic there. That was going to be a miss by Burton.
Yep. There is no question he's the emotional heartbeat of what they do, though.
Absolutely. You don't want to do anything to help him get going if you're Florida State.
Boy, Mills with another scoop and score. He's got 5.
Again, that's what Mills can do. He's got a history of getting hot, and he can put 15 points up on you in a blink of an eye. 5-point
lead for Pitt. Under 7 to go in this first half. That ball got deflected away by Mills. Burton got it. Oh, he's left open. Another 3 from Jamarius. This time the bell rings. His 5th point of the ball game on his 16th 3 of the year.
Yeah, Wes, again, he can make the 3-point shot, but in conference play so far this year, that's only his 8th 3. He's only a 28% shooter from out there.
And 1 of 3 here today. Back to their largest lead of the ball game for Pitt. Mills trying to drive on Cummings, and there'll be a foul called, and it's on Burton. It will be his first. 7th on Pitt with 6:18 to play in this first half.
And again, Mills can really put pressure on you from an offensive perspective, just driving it down into the lane there. He got that past Federico, who I think was surprised and never even jumped.
So we got a 1-and-1 for Caleb Mills. Averaged 13 points a year ago against the Conference. He has 6 here in this first half. has averaged 5 assists in the last 3 games with just 4 turnovers. That's 15 assists, 4 turnovers in the last 3 ball games, in addition to what he's doing with the ball in his hand. Saw Naheem McLeod at 7'4" has come back. So we'll see McLeod and Baba Miller and now Matthew Cleveland for Mills. So Florida State really elevates here from a size perspective with 6 minutes to go. Burton against Warley at 6'6". Here comes Federico to try and help with the screen. Right corner for Cummings, and Cleveland challenging. Step away 3. And we get a foul called.
No, I think he came down on his ankle, Wes.
Oh, Cummings did?
Yeah, I don't think that's a foul.
Oh, boy. Roger Ayers stopping when Nelly Cummings hit the deck.
Well, Wes, I don't think that was a good shot by Nelly Cummings. He was very well defended, and you're talking about Florida State's size. Cummings is only 6 feet tall. And that time it was Green at 6'5", who was right on top of it. Have to keep an eye on Cummings.
Cleveland looked quickly for McLeod. There's Green against Elliott. Remember now, Elliott playing with the 2 fouls. Soft jumper, Jalen Warley over Cummings. 7 for Warley in this first half. Florida State to within 4. Pitt's had it to 8 on 3 separate occasions here in this first half. Can't crack any more than that. Florida State battling back. Cummings tried to go to Elliott. Did they make the save? He did. Deflected away. And here's Green. Green, a deep 3. He was almost over here in our lap.
Yes, he was. He could have gotten a little closer, Wes. He had plenty of opportunity and time.
He was out on I-10. Here's Burton rerouting in traffic against Worley. Scores. Jamarius Burton, a tough shot.
That's what Burton does best. Gets the ball into the lane. And to be honest with you, it's very difficult against the length of Florida State on the inside. The way Florida State plays, it's a tough matchup for Pitt.
Baba Miller, the jump shot. McLeod tried for the tap. Got it back. Put it up. Slapped around. Worley recovers. Got the roll. Jalen Warley's run into a couple here. He's got 9. And we've got a stoppage of play as Nelly Cummings lost his left shoe.
Wes, one of the problems that the Panthers have had in ACC play is that they've given up, they've had some games where they've given up a lot of offensive rebounds. And this is now Burton. He's taking it in and he gets that stop. And Warley's not too big for him. He takes one more dribble, Wes, and then he's up against the 7-footer McLeod. So really smart play by Burton.
Several interesting matchups on the floor. McLeod and Federico, Cleveland, Elliott, and this one here.
Well, on the screen, McLeod is now going to switch.
Yep. Here's Cummings left open. Spins out on a 3. And again, Federico runs down the rebound, finds Hinson. He's fouled on the drive. And it's going to be on, I believe, it's on Darren Green. It'll be his first and the 5th on Florida State.
That's just really a nice job by Federico. And Green reaches in from the other side. The foul was not on Warley, it was on Green.
Blake Hinson's free throw rattles out. He's got 9 here in the first half. And you see Guillermo Diaz-Graham replacing Nelly Cummings. Clearly the long and the short of it for Jeff Capel.
And Hinson is not a great free throw shooter, only about 63% in conference play.
And second one good. He's got double figures. He's averaged almost 15 in his last 5 games. He's had 4 double-figure efforts. He's had 5 now in the last 7.
Well, this is
10
interesting.
in this first half.
Diaz-Graham matching up against Cleveland.
Yep. There's a short jumper. Jalen Warley's feeling it in the first half. Dandy's now got 11. He's Florida State's leading scorer.
He's playing with a lot of confidence, and that was almost a little shot put up there.
Yep. Held out of the lineup the other night from Leonard Hamilton for some disciplinary issues, and he's responded here today in a start again. Elliott fires away.
When again, Wes, it's been a while since they've made a 3.
Hinson turns and scores.
But that's where they're getting some help from Hinson. He has been a power inside the 3-point line.
He's got a dozen. The lead back to 5 with 3:19 to play. Cleveland works around. Tries to take Diaz-Graham into traffic. Now a kick out three. Warley feeling it. Jalen Warley now with 14 in this first half. And Florida State to within 2. Burton. Here's Hinson. Down the lane, blocked from behind, and a foul call. Roger Ayers hits the whistle. And the foul, I believe, is on Cleveland. That'll get us to a break. 2:47 to go in this first half. Blake Hinson leading Pitt, but just a narrow margin on Florida State in the ACC.
That's it.
But the Florida State story is the 4th double-figure game in conference play for the sophomore Jalen Warley, Dan.
Wes, and he has made all of his field goal attempts, 5 for 5 from the field, and he's hit his only 3-point attempt. The only shot he's missed is a free throw today, and he's turned in a really nice defensive effort against Nelly Cummings.
At 17 points at Notre Dame earlier this year, had 14 against Louisville. 11. He's had 11 also, so a double-figure first half here.
And with all his ball handling responsibilities, Wes, he doesn't have any turnovers in this game.
So Blake Hinson will be at the line after the foul on Naheem McLeod was his second. As we went to the break with 2:47 to go. It's been as big as 8 on 3 occasions for Pitt. Hinson at the line. And by the way, he is the star for Jeff Capel's team. He's got now 13 here in this first half to lead Pittsburgh.
The Panthers started out really hot from 3-point range, but they've made only one of their last 9, Wes. And again, they're not going to stop shooting them. They rely heavily on the 3, but if that 3 is not going, Florida State has done a nice job taking advantage of that.
Cleveland in traffic against Diaz-Graham and Federico.
This is an interesting matchup. Diaz-Graham against Cleveland. We're hoping the size bothers Matthew Cleveland.
Here is Green into a double team. Roger Ayers almost banged our table into us. Turned over on the process by Florida State. Pitt with a nice use of the half-court trap there.
And they were trying to bounce it off a Pitt player and instead threw it.
Burton, a tough shot.
Missed the player they were trying to bounce it off of.
Yep. There's Baba Miller, one dribble and a pickup. Cleveland. Hinson almost stripped it out of there. Miller right back to Cleveland. Now Corin, and foul by Cummings. And that'll be the first on the transfer from Colgate from Midland, PA, which is, what, a Pittsburgh suburb?
Well, that's a little bit removed from Pittsburgh, but yeah, it's in the greater Pittsburgh area is how we describe it.
All right. I got to ask, I mean, you went, what, Avonwood, right?
Avonworth.
Avonworth, right? Corin, I defer to you on all Western PA. Corin 81% at the line. First trip. Cummings is an interesting guy, too, because he's one of these guys that transferred into the program, but he was a little bit more of a known commodity.
Yes.
Than, because he was in the recruiting scope of Jeff Capel early in his career. Here is Cameron Corin, whose dad was a member of Georgia's '83 Final Four team at Albuquerque. Dan.
Well,
Hugh Durham, who, by the way, coached at Florida State.
Coached at Florida State.
Prior to going to Georgia. And one of the delightful men in our industry.
Absolutely.
Here is Diaz-Graham, tough shot. Rebounded Federico, put it right back up, and it fell off the back iron. Florida State can tie in the final 90 seconds. Warley is scooped. Corin inside. Bounces out to Jalen, and a new 20.
That is great hustle by Corin to get down there and get that rebound and give Florida State another chance.
Cleveland for Warley. 70 seconds to play in this first half. Green has had a quiet opening 20. He put it on the deck and out of there. It'll be a held ball, and it'll go to Florida State with 3 on the shot clock. And And Leonard Hamilton, I think, might want to burn a timeout here. And Coach Hamilton is going to take a timeout. They'll use it or lose it with 1:02 to go in the opening half.
It's hard to run a business on your own. Make it easier on yourself. With Shopify, you have everything you need to sell online and in person. You can have your inventory, payments, and customers in sync across all the places you sell. It doesn't have to be lonely at the top. Join the millions defining success on their own terms. Start your journey with a free trial today.
So a 2-point lead for Pitt. And Leonard Hamilton's used it or lose it timeout. His team, 3 seconds to shoot, 1:02 to go in this first half. And of all the things that have kind of occurred here at both ends of the floor, Knowles again, as they did the other night against Syracuse, right in the thick of it.
They're doing a great job scrapping in this game. And if you're Pitt, you better make sure you find Green. They're going to try to run him off a screen and get a three. As soon as we get the guy off the floor with the ball.
I'll tell you what, we had a guy, it was like a 3rd and 1 play at the top of the circle. And here's Warley. He's got to find the entry point here, and it is Cleveland, a 3, and it's a 2, and it's short. Ball got deflected out.
Wow.
Mills gets the long rebound, and a 3rd try on this end of the floor now for Florida State.
That's now 6 offensive rebounds for Florida State, but they throw it away.
Yep. And all the 74-year-old native of Gastonia, North Carolina can do is look at the other end, high into the ceiling, and go, my goodness. Burton against Corin. Hard drive, Jamarius in traffic, and Federico is fouled by Corin. So Cameron Corin, his second. That's the 7th on Florida State.
And what the Florida State defense has been able to do, Wes, is to force the Panthers into some tough shots. And that was another one. Federico did a nice job getting the rebound, but that's a tough shot.
It's 2 shots for Federico. Transfer from Northern Oklahoma College. And that's the first of 2.
Well, Wes, he hadn't been to the line much in conference play.
Don't forget, coming up at 2 Eastern over on ESPN, Brandon Miller and number 3 Alabama at Auburn. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis are there, and then Virginia and Duke from the JPJ at 4 o'clock, all on ESPN, streaming live on the ESPN app. How about Federico, a 54% free throw shooter, and just smooths 2 of them home, Dan?
Yeah, hey, that didn't look like a 54% free throw shooter. Now, in conference play, Wes, he is now 6 of 9.
Wow.
So, again, he doesn't get to the line that much. And to be perfectly honest, the way the Panthers play, they don't throw him the ball much. They don't try to post him up. They don't really run plays for him. So most of what he gets is just hustling, tip-ins.
Dan, this is one of the, we're looking at Federico, but you could say this about the collective bunch Jeff Capel's got. This is one of the really good stories in the ACC. It may be one of the better stories in college basketball about the patience to build this program back.
Well, there isn't any question about it. When he took over, you know, you can't say the Pitt program was down. You had to dig down to try to find where it was.
And he has done a marvelous job. Think of it like this. Today, Jeff Capel tries to win his 6th road game in the ACC this year. He's only got 10. He's already won half his total on the road this year in rebuilding the Panther fortune.
Well, the Pitt comes out with some pressure to get him run some time off the clock.
Now Warley with Cummings waiting. 8-second differential as we wrap up this first half in Tallahassee.
Warley's been really good getting into the lane and using his 6-inch height advantage against Cummings.
6 to shoot. McLeod to help. Now here's Green with Hinson following. Now over Federico. Off the back rim. Scooped up Warley with 5. He'll skip it back for Green. Another one. No. Hinson the rebound. And that will end the first half in Tallahassee. Pitt got hot to start from behind the line, Dan, and then just kind of locked it down and was willing to get dirty in the rest of the 20.
Well, Wes, really impressive by Florida State. Their defense kept them in it, and they made some shots.
Well, Pittsburgh rides Blake Hinson from a scoring perspective. Florida State, Jalen Warley's their scoring star, but it's the Panthers trying to win it. And Green got a hand on it, knocked it over the end line out of bounds. It will stay with Pitt.
And that's a nice job by Pitt to try to take advantage of the fact that Federico's got a size mismatch in there with all the switching that Florida State does.
Burton against Mills. Into the corner, Hinson's three. Federico, the offensive rebound. Back up against Corin, can't finish. They knock it around. Federico's got another chance at it. Burton spinning on Mills, into traffic and scores. 9 for Burton, and it's very quiet 9 at that, Dan, to push the lead to 6.
It is a quiet 9, but what an effort by Federico, Wes.
Yep.
Now, you'd like him to be strong enough to finish that first basket, but he really held his own and was able to get the ball to Burton, who makes another tough shot.
Jeff Capel talked a lot about the intangibles of Federico's first year at Pitt. There's Matthew Cleveland dialing in. His 19th three of the year gives him 6. And Florida State cuts it right back to 3.
And again, Wes, Matthew Cleveland was not a good three-point shooter last year.
Burton to Federico for the easy dunk. 6 for Federico.
And again, they're taking advantage of that switching the screens. Of course, not much of a switch there. Nobody guarded Federico.
The big fella helped out a little bit, almost caused Warley to lose the handle. It's a 5-point game. Warley takes off baseline and 1. He'll draw the foul on Cummings. Dan, you mentioned that matchup a lot in the first half, and that time the sophomore wins it.
Again, he's got a 6-inch height advantage, Wes, and he has played so intelligently today. He hasn't tried to force anything, but he has been dominant when he's been able to get close to the basket because there's nothing Cummings can do.
Chance to tie his career high here from mid-January at Notre Dame. And he does. 4 of 5 at the line is Warley. Leonard Hamilton talked in the preseason about his need to be more consistent. I'd say he's got 4 single-figure games in the last 5 coming in. He's answered with a double-figure performance here today and tied his career high with 17. 3-ball Elliott answers at the other end through the Panthers. All 3 of Greg Elliott's baskets are from behind the line here today. 5-point advantage.
Florida State helped a little bit too much that time. You don't need to help McLeod against Cummins close to the basket.
Warley on the drive. Kick out for Cleveland. Breaks down on Hinson. Here's McLeod in traffic. Hit it up under the basket. Finally Pitt's out of there with it.
Well, he was surrounded, wasn't he, Wes?
Yep. Hinson, a kick out 3 from the right. Nobody home underneath. Easy rebound for Mills. Caleb Mills, another drive into traffic, and McLeod will follow on the dunk. First points for the junior Naheem McLeod.
Federico is really having to help out, and that creates opportunities.
Burton fouled on the drive. And it is on Naheem McLeod. That's his 3rd. It's the first on Florida State. It'll send Jamarius Burton to the line for a couple.
Well, down on the other end, Federico left McLeod to help out. Federico blocked the shot, but McLeod lays it in. That time, Jamarius Burton just did a great job pushing the ball up the court.
So here is big shot Burton, if you will. Free throw good for the 4th best free throw shooter in the ACC. Now 10 in the game for Burton. Sabandi limited to a 7-minute first half.
Well, Wes, he picked up those 2 fouls, but I think maybe part of picking up the fouls was, he missed his first 2 shots, and then I thought he hung his head a little bit, which is a surprise because he's a veteran guy. These are veteran guys. If you miss a shot, just keep playing.
4-point game. Cleveland. Center of the floor, Mills. Green and fouled by Hinson. And Blake Hinson will get his first. Second team foul on the Panthers. Darren Green Jr. has but a single three to his credit.
Well, he's 1 for 6 from out there, Wes, but the Panthers have done a great job contesting everything that he's trying to do.
There's Elliott trying to find him. Green for McLeod. Put it up in traffic, and a foul will be ticketed, and that's on Federico. It'll be his second. Third on Pitt. Two big fellas, 6'11" Federico, and the 7'4" McLeod here.
Federico, again, Wes, he goes to help out, and then he has a hard time getting back to his own man in time. Hinson was trying to help out, but McLeod's just too big.
McLeod's free throw is good. That makes him 12 of 28 at the line this year. Averaged 12 minutes a game a season ago, playing at about a 13-minute clip in ACC play this year. And how about that? Naheem's got all 4 of his points here, and Florida State's to within 2 behind his efforts. Burton trying to elude a double team with a quick dribble.
Well, I thought Warley had a chance to set a double team and just didn't do it.
Now it's going to be Mills off the ball against Federico.
Burton dribbled the ball right to us, Wes, and he was looking right at us. And if Warley traps him there,
right,
Burton's in trouble because he's got his back to the court.
Long inbounds for Elliott. Look at this. Sets, 3 ball, spins out. Here's Green. Pitching ahead for McLeod. And off his fingertips and recovered Sabandi.
I don't care how big your guy is. That's a long way to make that kind of pass.
Hinson. Tap follow wouldn't go. Warley the rebound.
Panthers have had a couple of chances, Wes.
Yep, been on the doorstep as we played 4 minutes of the second half. Worley forced it up, rebounded Federico. And Elliott, I think, lost his shoe in the backcourt.
He's the second Panther to lose his shoe today.
Cummings lost a boot as well, didn't he? Here's Elliott, catch and shoot 3. Front rim miss. Pitt's 2 of their last 17 from behind the line. Mills for Florida State, and it spins out. Still a 2-point Panther lead. They just go back and forth off the misses here, don't they?
Well, they're letting Florida State hang around, Wes, and there's an offensive foul. And remember, when you got guys like Caleb Mills and Green and Matthew Cleveland who can score in bunches, it's very dangerous to leave a team around like that. And the Pitt Panthers, Wes, they're hanging in there. It's Federico who's playing very well right at the moment for Pitt, but it's just a 2-point lead.
Seen this app? Order sandwiches?
Yep.
And did such a great job mentoring young coaches.
Yep, and of course, Big Jeff, or Jeff II as he's known, was really inspired by the likes of John McClendon and others in that state. Dunk off the baseline, we got ourselves a tie. 45 all. Burton for Hinson. And Pittsburgh continuing to struggle behind the line, and a foul on the deck after the dunk by Darren Green was just his second field goal of the game.
Well, Wes, and again, the Pitt Panthers in conference play score 39% of their points from behind the line. And so if they're going to struggle from 3, that means they're going to struggle offensively.
Foul was on Green. They tried to get it to Diaz-Graham that got knocked around. Guillermo got it back, and then it's turned over. Jackson running the break, and he'll wheel it back out. See if Florida State can take the lead. Out of the corner, Jackson a 3. Rebound for Burton. Chandler Jackson's just 7 of 18 from behind the line this year when he cut that one loose.
It's been a while since the Panthers have scored.
2.5 minutes, in fact. Hinson on the drive, draws the foul. And it's on Chandler Jackson. It'll be the 4th on the Noles.
Now, if you're going to drive in there, you better be strong with the basketball, and Hinson was that time.
Burton thought about it. Into traffic, feeds Diaz-Graham, and he will score on the stick back. His own miss, and then recovered for the basket. Guillermo's first points.
Well, you like his skill, Wes, but he just needs to get stronger. He very nearly missed that one.
Here's Cleveland inside the catch and score. Corrin has tied the game. Cameron Corrin will have a chance to put Florida State in front after the Guillermo Diaz-Graham foul.
Well, this is really good scrap by Jackson, and then Cleveland, what a nice job finding his teammate under the basket.
Corrin's got 8. He had 16 points in their win at Louisville. And the freshman's free throw is good. He's 3 for 3 at the line. He's got 9. First time Florida State's led since it was 2-0.
Wes, their defense has been the key.
Cummings, Diaz the catch, up strong and scores. Back-to-back buckets for the freshman from the Canary Islands.
And that's a nice job taking advantage of that size mismatch that the switch creates.
Green against Burton. Jackson back for Corrin, the layup. 5 in a row now for Cameron Corrin. He's got 11. Florida State back in front.
Now again, that screen and roll, and Diaz-Graham just didn't handle it very well.
There is Cummings on the drive. Jackson did a good job defending for the Noles.
Oh, that was a force. Cummings, again, he's only 6 feet tall.
Green, a deep 3. A back rim miss that Cleveland runs down. Cleveland and Hinson's worth your money, isn't it?
Wow, Hinson has been really aggressive on the defensive end, whether he's guarding Cleveland or somebody else.
There's Jackson spinning on Cummings and lost it out of bounds to Pitt. So a turnover by the freshman Chandler Jackson.
Wes, you're talking about a screen and roll. Diaz-Graham just goes too far. You don't need to go jump out like that on the screen against Jackson. And then Sabandi's too far in the corner, can't get over to help, but wouldn't have done any good anyway. Sabandi's a little guy. Nothing he's going to do against Corrin in there.
Baba Miller, Naheem McLeod into the lineup for Florida State.
Seminoles just keep getting bigger.
Sure do. Burton over McLeod. 5 for Jamarius Burton. 12 in the ball game.
Wes, it's hard to describe how impressive that shot is over a 7-foot field goal.
Mills with Sabandi there. Diaz-Graham trying to help. And almost turned over by Mills. They roll around. Finally, Miller saves it.
Yes, we've had a lot of rolling around here in the second half.
Jackson left open again. That 3 rolls out. Pittsburgh a 1-point lead. Almost 9 minutes gone, second half. Burton has Jackson defending him. Got a race against McLeod, couldn't get all the way through. A step back is good. Another big 2-point shot for Jamarius Burton. There's a lob from McLeod, and he deflected it off his own hand out of bounds. It will go to the Panthers when we continue. But Jamarius Burton, the grad student from Charlotte, has hit back-to-back buckets to give Pitt a 3-point lead.
Hey, Dark Roast drinkers, it's Duncan.
Always ends up in number 11's hands, Dan.
Well, it really shouldn't, Wes. He's made all 3 of his field goal attempts in the second half. And they've been this mid-range kind of thing that he does so successfully. Drives the defender back, and Green tries to switch out to him. That's not an easy shot. Fairly well defended, but this guy is a shot maker. And this is what he has done in ACC play this year. And today, you see, at 6 of 12, and again, he's made his last 3 field goal attempts.
I think it also begs a little bit of a bigger question, too, here. As we said at the top, I think he's almost a lock for all ACC, Dan. but is he in the Player of the Year conversation?
A lot of basketball left to be played, Wes, and he'll help answer that question himself.
Diaz Graham follows the miss by Burton. He's got 6 in the second half.
And that's, you know, we talked about how Pitt needs points off the bench. We're thinking Sabandi, but they'll take him from Diaz Graham, too.
Yep. Those are the only bench points for the Panthers. Here's Green launching a deep 3 that misses off the front rim, and Burton the rebound.
But Green hasn't really had open threes, Wes. That was hotly contested.
Burton out front against Cleveland. Skip for Hinson, 3 balls. Air ball is the result.
Hinson needed to put that one in his pocket. It was a bad pass. It took him too long to get set up.
Yep. Miller against Hinson. Leonard Hamilton wants a foul, and there's a hand check on Hinson. That'll be his second. That is 6 now on Pitt. And another look at the handiwork of Guillermo Diaz Graham.
Well, Wes, look, he's following the ball, and he has his eye on the ball the whole time. Nobody's looking at him to block out. Everybody was chasing Burton, and he just did a nice job following the ball.
Cleveland tried to put it in play, and it got deflected by Elliott on a bailout toward Green.
Well, Burton was not only guarding the ball, he was counting. So he's got, I mean, he's multitasking. He's helping the referee.
Absolutely. And here is Green as we get to the halfway point of this second frame. Deontay Green knocks down a 3. His second of the year. Right off the bench, the freshman from Asheville, who's trying to recover from a torn ACL, comes in and just right away writes his name down in the book.
That's very interesting.
He had not played the last 2 games. Here's Burton off the window. Diaz Graham gave it a shot and saved it for Burton. Elliott left open. Bottom.
Well, again, Diaz Graham is in the middle of that, Wes, because that was a tough shot by Burton. Maybe a bad shot by Burton, but Diaz Graham kept it alive, and so they get a 3.
Here is Green to Deontay Green. No relation between the two fellows. There's Deontay back to the basket, and he's fouled. And the foul will be on Guillermo Diaz Graham.
Graham, you know, he's got himself in great position for a rebound right there, but that's, if you give Elliott that much time, he's rarely going to miss, Wes.
Well, the story of 6'10" freshman Deontay Green, he tore an ACL last January, so really just over a year ago. In the recruiting process, he selected Florida State over Carolina, Clemson, Wake Forest, and Tennessee. He had 6 points in 12 minutes in their blowout loss in Raleigh to NC State. And these are really his first meaningful minutes since for the Noles. And he got 1 of 2 at the line, so he's got 4 points off Leonard Hamilton's bench. Outstanding prospect, but Dan, one of the walking wounded that's afflicted this Seminole team throughout the course of the year. Here is Burton, and that'll be an offensive foul. He hooked him on the dribble.
And he didn't need to, Wes. He was by him. In fact, Miller was falling down. But when the officials see that hook, that's going to be an offensive foul every time. See, he's by him, and then he slips that arm around him, and that's very clear to the officials.
And Roger Ayers, Matt Potter, Tony Chiazza, we've got an outstanding crew here today in Tallahassee.
3 guys who know what they're doing.
4-point lead. Here's Miller with Hinson defending the young freshman. Baba trying to create some space. Hinson doing a good job. Here's Green, and that's an offensive foul. He knocks down Blake Hinson. What a smart game Blake Hinson's played today.
Well, and how about that? You talk about smart. How about that series we just saw, Wes? He moves his feet, uses his body, doesn't use his hands to prevent Miller from getting by him, and then steps in and draws the charge.
Yeah, Blake's got 14 points, all of it in the first half. But Dan, I'm thinking along the lines of the shot fakes we saw in the first half, and now some good footwork defensively.
Well, he's played very well defensively, Wes. He spent a lot of the game matched up against Matthew Cleveland, who's been relatively quiet.
4-point lead for Pitt. 3 weeks ago, the Noles came from 10 down to win at Pittsburgh. Sabandi on the drive. Kick for Elliott, a catch and shoot.
Elliott didn't get his feet set that time, Wes. He hurried that one a little.
Miller quickly front court. Here's Cleveland trying to get back in rhythm. Long rebound, Diaz-Graham. Elliott on the attack, lob, and Guillermo couldn't finish.
Just not strong enough to make that play yet, Wes.
Cleveland under 8, down 4.
So you miss 2 that you had to have, Wes, and now you have to get your defense to bail you out if you're the Panthers.
10 to shoot for Deontay Green. Now Darren Green out of a double team and a foul. And that's going to be on Blake Hinson. That'll be his 3rd. That is 9 on Pitt with 7.5 to go in Tallahassee. It's a 4-point lead for the Panthers. That's where the dirt is in the details for Jeff Capel.
Well, they have played themselves into great position, according to our Joe Lenardi. That 5-2 record against Quad 1 teams, that is outstanding. The problem for the Panthers is they already have one loss to Florida State this year, and even though they're in pretty solid situation right now, I'm not sure they can afford another one.
Yep. So you see the 17-7 mark, trying to get to 11 league wins today. And the free throw by Green off the Hinson foul. As we come back to live action here at the Tucker Center in Tallahassee. 6 points now for Darren Green Jr. And make it 7. As he scores that one. He had 17 on Wednesday night. Made 5 threes, and he'll come out of the lineup as Mills reports back.
Wes, and this is pretty typical of a Pitt basketball game. They play close ones.
Boy, haven't they? Sabandi sets up at the top. 3 is good.
Boy, that's a huge basket for Pitt and a huge basket for Sabandi. He's a guy who can make 3 or 4 in a row if he's feeling it.
Yep. Warley picks up on the dribble, back to a 5-point advantage. Mills trying to find a spot against Elliott. Now Baba Miller a 3. Air ball recovered inside and scored by Cameron Corrin. 13 for Corrin, his 2nd double-figure game in the last 7 for Coach Hamilton.
Boy, and Pitt has really done a job on their own offensive boards with second chance points. That's what we're talking about. Sabandi suddenly feeling it.
Yep, Nike Sabandi, couple of 3s. You and I've been in the building when he's ripped off 4 in a row.
Well, Wes, he's made almost, in fact, I think now he's made 233s in his career.
Here is Warley baseline, the scoop and score. Nicely done by the sophomore. Now he's got 19 in the ball game, and that's a career high.
That's too easy. Florida State with that offensive rebounding basket and then one that's too easy.
Now Corrin switches off on Sabandi. Step out 3 from the right. Bounces away. Federico put it up. Miller blocked it. And last touch by Florida State, says Tony Chiazza. So it'll belong to Pitt on the baseline here.
Well, there's Federico inside again, Wes. Again, he's feeling he's made the last 2. Knocks that one down. Missed the previous one.
Hinson a 3. And the rebound for Cleveland. Florida State trails 4. Mills a 3. First triple of the day puts Caleb Mills in double figures.
Wes, every time you think the Panthers are on a little bit of a run, Florida State answers right back.
Burton looked at Federico. Corrin tried to wrap it up. Here's a give and go, and Burton back to the basket for the score.
Boy, what a smart play by Burton. They're all over him, and he just makes that pass and cuts to the basket. That's old school, isn't it?
Yep, sure is. Mills.
This is a tough matchup for Hinson.
Baseline on the drive, threw it away. Tried to dig it out, I think, for Warley. Here is Sabandi on Cleveland and scores. How about Nike? Sabandi has now got 8 off of Capel's bench and a 5-point lead for the Panthers under 5 to go. So we'll step aside at the Tucker Center.
So sweet, so crispy.
Well, just steps away from 5 points tomorrow in Columbia, Dan. 2 o'clock start. Aaliyah Boston undefeated #1 South Carolina. Angel Reese undefeated #3 LSU. Courtney Lau, Carolyn Peck, Holly Rowe have coverage for you. Super Bowl Sunday, 2 Eastern on ESPN, and always available on the app. And Dawn Staley and Kim Mulkey, by the way, too, if you need a little more.
How much fun is that? 2 undefeated teams in mid-February.
Yep. And what should be a terrific game on ESPN. 5-point contest here. 31.6% of ACC games have been 5 or less with 3 overtime this year. And we are 5 with under 5 to go. Warley, who had a great first half and has a career high, and there is a check on Hinson. That'll be his 4th. They've all been here in the second half, Dan, with 4:39 to go. And
relatively quickly in the second half. Yeah. We talked about the aggressiveness with which Hinson has been playing most of the game, but maybe he's getting tired. I don't know. Not quite as disciplined as he's been earlier.
2 shots from Mills on the 10th foul. Caleb Mills is 88%, or 85%. He is now 4 out of 5 with the make there. He's the 5th best free throw shooter in the ACC.
Well, Wes, that's what he does best, is he drives the ball, he attacks, he gets in the lane. We saw him make a 3, and he can make one of those, but that's not the best part of his game, and particularly with the Panthers in a little bit of foul trouble, you can expect to see more of Caleb Mills on the attack.
Pitt by 3. Mills has got a dozen. Burton.
Ball's got to move for Pitt.
Yep. Sabandi, 12 to shoot, trying to drive on Cleveland, and what an impact Nike Sabandi has had. 10 points here in just a blink of an eye in the second half.
Well, that's the kind of thing he can do, Wes, and that's why we said it really was a negative for Pitt that he didn't score in the first half.
And a bounce pass that is thrown away, and Hinson with the Florida State turnover. He'll shoot a pass to Burton. And now under 4 to go. You like it with Sabandi here?
I do.
Against Coring. Beats him on the dribble all the way in. Forced it up. Federico trying to keep it alive.
See, that's the problem, Wes. When you get in there and draw all those guys, you can't force it up. You got to find the open man.
Mills caught it under the basket. Lines up a 3. And Federico the rebound.
Well, he just went and got that one, Wes.
And might have traveled. The Florida State bench erupted. 3:19 to go. Here's Burton driving it on Corin and will draw the foul. The foul will be on the freshman Corin, his 3rd. It is but the 6th on Florida State. It gets us to the under 4 timeout at the Tucker Center. Either school than Nike Sabandi's had for Pitt. Dan.
Well, he has been so valuable for Pitt off the bench. We mentioned he didn't score in the first half, but he really helped lift the Panthers. He hit those back-to-back 3s, and then he's been able to drive to the ball to the basket and convert as well.
So Sabandi, 10 points, all in the second half. Remember, he only played about 7 minutes in the first half because of foul trouble.
Well, Wes, and keep this in mind. He's got those 10 points in the second half. Blake Hinson, who had 14 points in the first half, has missed all 7 of his shots in the second half. He's 0 for 5 from 3 and hasn't scored. So Sabandi and Diaz-Graham coming off the bench with 6 points. Those 2 guys have been extremely valuable for Pitt here in the second half.
16 points for Burton, who is at the line for a pair here. Jamarius knocks the first one down.
Wes, he was disgusted with himself that he missed one earlier.
Yes, he was.
As you mentioned, that was only his 5th miss earlier in conference play. Coming in, shoots 92% in ACC play.
This guy does not hide it very well.
No.
From an emotional standpoint.
You always know what he's thinking.
And the second one bounced away.
Well, that's big. I think at this stage of the game, Wes, you need every point you can get And that's a surprise that he's missed 2 today.
Especially one that changes possession. 3 minutes to play. Cleveland working on Hinson with the 4. The turnaround rolled out. Sabandi kept it alive, and Hinson finally grabs it. Elliott took a spill.
That's really good defense by Hinson with 4 fouls, because Matthew Cleveland is the guy who put the ball in the basket and put some pressure on.
Burton winding the clock down. 15 to shoot. Into traffic. Here's Hinson firing away and hitting.
Like I said, hadn't made a shot in the second half, Wes. That's what you call confidence. He's 0 for 7 in the second half, 0 for 5 from 3, but raises up that time and hits maybe the biggest shot of the game so far.
9-point game. 74-65. Green, that's a 2, and it's good. What a tough shot for Darren Green Jr. He's got now 6.5, 9 in the ball game. And Florida State takes a timeout. We'll step aside as well. 7-point lead for Pitt.
This February, hop on the
7-point game with Dan Bonner, West Durham. We welcome you to the Tucker Center in Tallahassee. If you're looking ahead, we've seen a terrific game today. It's been a bit of weird at times, though. They've missed shots and empty possessions.
And balls rolling around on the floor, guys diving on top of them. But now you're in a situation, if you're the Panthers, you got to get the ball inbounds. That's the first thing. Now, Elliott can run along the baseline.
Remember, Florida State's only got 16 fouls, so their next one would put Pitt at the line for 1-and-1. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh's already sent Florida State to the double bonus, and did so about a couple minutes ago.
Well, you expect Burton to dominate the ball.
10 to shoot, into traffic, foul, and that's the 7th on Florida State.
And let's see if they rule he was shooting or passing, Wes.
I think it's going to be 1-and-1. It is.
It is.
The foul is on Mills, his 3rd. That is 7 on Florida State with 1:56 to go.
Well, normally, Wes, you would say Burton is the guy, if you're Florida State, you don't want to put him on the line, but he's only 2 of 4 today.
You see the details of his 17-point afternoon. And the free throw good. 18 now for Jamarius Burton.
You know, Pitt's going to give him the ball here at the end of the game, Wes, and he's so big and strong, it's almost impossible to take it from him. And if he's going to make his free throws, then that really puts the pressure on the Seminoles.
And made them both. Biggest lead of 9 again. Under 2 to go. Here's Green off a screen on the ball screen and misses the 3. Burton the rebound.
That's about the most open Green has been today.
Yep. And here is Burton now with Mills.
I want to consider double teaming him, just making him give up the ball, make somebody else on him.
Because he'll just dribble to 10 and go to the basket.
Then he's going to the basket.
Here's Federico to set the screen. Burton tried to skip it to Elliott, got deflected. He still got it there. And then Federico the rebound, and he's fouled.
That was a dangerous pass by Burton. He was trying to throw that through long arms. Pitt lucky to keep that one.
4 on Cameron Corrin.
And boy, Federico has been really impressive, Wes.
Yep.
With his offensive rebounding in particular. He's got, what, 13 rebounds in the game. And 7 of them are offensive.
He's one off his season high, had 14 against Sacred Heart. And the free throw stroke pretty true.
Wes, he's blocked a couple of shots. He's rebounded the ball very effectively. He's had a really solid game.
Second one good. Dan, these guys stared it right in the face here today, didn't they?
Boy, they sure did.
And didn't flinch. Warley on the drive and the basket.
Well, Wes, remember when Florida State took the lead, it was Jamarius Burton who took over and made 3 straight baskets to put Pitt back up. And then it's been close. You know, they made it close, but Pitt never gave up that lead again.
Foul on Florida State will get us to the free throw line. And on Cameron Corrin, it's his 5th. So he will be disqualified with 13 points and 57 seconds to go in the game. And that'll put Blake Hinson to the free throw line.
Wes, it's hard to win on the road, and here the Panthers are going to do it again.
Yep. They're going to win for the 6th time on the road in the ACC. And to give you an example, Jeff Capel's going to have 6 ACC road wins this year and 11 in 5 years. And Dan, their ability to close,
yes, Wes,
is impressive.
Well, they've got, you know, you've got Burton, and Sabandi showed you that he can help close.
Here's Mills. And Mills will get the basket, and Florida State will take the timeout.
How about that move by Mills? I mean, we talked about his ability to attack the basket, but probably a little too late here.
So the timeout, Florida State will have 1 to go. And Pittsburgh will look ahead to Tuesday night in a single game with Boston College, Dan, who was beaten at home today and convincingly by NC State by 30 points, 92-62. The reason I bring that up is NC State and Kevin Keats now have 10 wins. Pittsburgh's getting ready to go to 11. Clemson and North Carolina are starting at the top of the hour. Likewise, the story for Virginia Tech and Notre Dame. You still got Duke and Virginia later today. And then tonight in the 7 o'clock hour, Miami with 10 wins will host Louisville at the Watsco Center. Here is Hinson driving, missed it, rebounded by Green with 38 seconds left. Here's Cleveland, the scoop. He left it short. Sabandi the rebound. And a backcourt foul will be called on Mills, and that'll be his 4th. And that's 10 on Florida State now with 30.7 to go.
Well, Wes, you've got to say that the Panthers really adjusted well after that first game. Darren Green had 24 points the first time, and so they really were all over him.
Yeah.
And Matthew Cleveland, I think he's only got 6 points, Wes, and he scored in double figures the first time too. So even though Florida State has scored 71 points, the Panthers have been very aggressive defensively.
Sabandi makes it a 10-point. These are his first free throws of the day.
How about his second half?
Oh,
I talked
amazing.
about it before, but
yep. Just goes to show you, right? Takes everybody.
and I think that's the key with this Pitt team, Wes. It does take everybody.
And the shot by Mills, foul is called.
You know, and for Pittsburgh, Wes, it tends to be different guys every time. You know, Nellie Cummings really didn't have a very good game today, but Nellie Cummings, they don't beat North Carolina without Nellie Cummings. And
right.
So the Panthers have a lot of guys who can contribute. And when they're rolling, everybody's contributing. There you get a look at Nellie Cummings. Again, at 6 feet tall, the Florida State size, I think, bothered him.
Yep.
But other guys stepped up for the Panthers today. You know, Elliott started out really well, making threes. He's got 12 points. And Hinson had a very solid first half and maybe made the biggest shot of the game.
Foul on Green.
A big three that really put the Panthers in the driver's seat.
Yeah, after being cold for the most of the second half.
And Burton did what Burton
does.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the reason I think it's appropriate to think about Jamarius Burton as a Player of the Year candidate in the ACC, Dan.
Well, it's very appropriate to talk about it, Wes, and I think that, you know, if the Pitt Panthers end up being the regular season champion, then that conversation has to be even more intense.
Elliott's first free throw attempt of the day. He's 90%. That's just his 5th miss of the year. And the second one is good. 7.5, 13 in the game for Elliott. Florida State will go to Clemson on Wednesday night. Remember, they lost on that Chase Hunter buzzer beater here 3 weeks ago, roughly 2 weeks ago. And a foul on Pittsburgh. Or no, I should say ball got knocked out of bounds. So
Federico blocked it again.
yeah. Well, how about Federico? He's had at least 3 blocked shots in now 7 ACC games.
Wes, he's a factor down
Yep. And getting better seemingly by the day. And Mills had it stripped out of bounds. There is Federico. Same last as first. Born in Egypt. Grew up in Finland. And has been an integral part of what a Pitt's success is going to be. There's Warley, the dunk. He's going to finish with a career high, but Pittsburgh is going to win in Tallahassee for the 5th time in 8 games at the Tucker Center. Dan?
Wes, was not easy, but a very impressive closing performance by the Pitt Panthers.
83-75 is the final. Pittsburgh moves to 11-3 and still tied atop of the ACC and 18-7 overall.